Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week is the continuation and conclusion of what I started last week, which are the top 20 notes from the top 100 that are just out of everybody's price range. If you've got a little bit extra money, yeah, you can probably get one of these, but for the average collector, you're probably not going to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars to add these to your collection. Last week I covered numbers 20 through 11, which happen to be numbers 94 through 63 out of this particular collection. Let's get started this week at number 10. Number 10 on the list is number 62 from the top 100. It is the $10 National Gold Banknote, both the original and the series of 1875. Now, these nationals were only produced in California, and these represented actual gold. On the back of the note, as you can see here, they actually pictured all the different types of gold coins. So, if you're a collector who collects notes that have pictures of gold coins on there, I've got some bad news. You've got some expensive additions coming up to your collection. These national notes here, this one, like I said, is the $10. These differ from the regular national banks because these were specifically redeemable in gold coin, and their paper was also a yellowish or goldish tint. These are FR 1142 to 1151 in the series. They gave each of the, I want to say there was 12 different banks that issued these. So those are the FR numbers. There's anywhere from 120 to 130 of these still circulating. 1875 was the year that you're going to find most of these, and let's see, even in rough condition, these are going to run you a few $1,000s without a problem. But if you find one in decent condition, you're talking much closer to around $65,000 to add this to your collection. So that is number 62 out of the top 100, and number 10 on my list, the $10 National Gold Banknotes. Number 9 on my list, and number 61 overall, this is a $20 Treasury Note. The $20 Treasury Note, this one happens to be from 1890. This one is number 61 overall on the list. That's the front. Check out the back. This is where you get the title greenbacks from, with that brilliant green and virtually no white showing. They decided to change this and change the backs and make more white showing, because as you look at this, you can see how that design just starts to blur in your eyes. This, when you look real close, obviously is still kind of blurry because it's just a replica. If you looked really close at the originals, you could make out the fine design and the fine pattern. But if you didn't look really close, it looked blurry. So if people did not look close at this, the anti-counterfeiting measures of those fine lines were lost on them, thus making it actually easier to counterfeit. People did not look. So by having more of the white showing, you were able to see the blue and red threads that they embed in the paper. This particular $20 bill, like I said, from 1890, it's a Treasury Note. You can see it says that across the top, legal tender. What do we got here? And the date, and it says in coin. That's why when you see the in coin, that designates, and where my finger is here, Treasury Note. Now this particular note, like I said, 1890, there's about 250 to 350 of these around. You're talking FR number 372, and this starts off at a few grand in rough shape, 3 or 4 grand or so. But if you get one in decent shape, you're talking over $150,000. So that's number 61 out of the top 100, and number 9 on my list, the 1899 $20 Treasury Note. Number 8 on the list is number 60 overall in the big book here. This is the $10 demand note of 1861. Now, this particular note is one of the first notes to have Lincoln pictured on it while he was still alive. 1861, obviously Lincoln was still there. That's his picture there, and you can see the back, how dramatic the green ink is on that. The paper actually had a slight green tint to it as well, if I recall. This one is Freeburg number 6 through 10. There's a couple different signature combinations on this one. The $10 demand note, this is like I said, the earliest portrait, I believe, for the demand notes. Actually, the demand notes were the first time that the government had printed any type of currency. These were quickly replaced in 1862 by the legal tender notes. These notes were spendable and redeemable on demand, thus the name on demand notes. If you were interested in trying to get a hold of one of these, you are talking roughly 160 to 180 of these still available, and you're looking at a price range. Let's see, it's number 60 overall. A price range, these will start off around $5K, and if you find one in good shape, you're looking closer to about $300,000 to add this to your collection. So that one is number 8 on my list and number 60 out of the top 100. Number 59 from the book is number 7 on my list. This one is the $100 National Banknote series of 1902, but specifically with the red seal. Red seal notes were usually the first run notes, and then they quickly changed over to a blue seal, if I recall. So the red seals are extremely scarce, sometimes can go for as much as 10 times the regular one. It's neat that they have serial number 1 pictured in the book here. These notes, you're talking FR 686 to 688, and there's somewhere between 160 and 200 of them available. These particular notes, number 59 on the list, FR 686, I said that already. We are talking 6,500 on the small end, but if you want one in nicer condition, you could be well over $60,000 for one of these notes. So that is number 59 on the list, the $100 red seal national banknotes. Number 6 on the list is one of the CSAs. This is from the Confederate States of America. It is the $500 Montgomery note. It's designated that because you can see Montgomery, Alabama. There's another note from Montgomery that's also going to make our list. But this particular one is CS number 2, or if you're a Confederate currency collector, it is a type 2. They usually go with a T and the number here. The paper money of the United States went with CS for Confederate States note, but generally this one would be a type 2 or a T2. The $500 CSA, deep green, really cool note. You are talking about, there's 109 of these that still exist, and even in rough shape, you're talking $14,000 for one of these. They can go for upwards of almost $50,000. So yeah, not a note you're going to be adding to your collection anytime soon, but if you are lucky enough to come across one at the right price, you are all set. Number 53 overall, and number 6 on my list, the $500 Confederate States of America note. Number 5 on my list is number 49 overall on the top 100. This is a $500 gold certificate. The $500 gold certificate is from 1882. I'll show you the back of this one. That bright gold on the back. That is the same image of the Flying Eagle that you see on the $1 Federal Reserve from 1918. So that's pretty cool. Here's the original. The $500 gold certificate, of course, featuring Lincoln. This one is number 1215 for an FR number, FR 1215. There's 175 to 200 of these still floating around somewhere. Even in rough shape, you're going to be paying almost $6,000 for this particular note. But if you find one that's really nice, these have gone in auction for as much as $900,000. So that one is number 49 out of the top 100 and number 5 on my top 20. Number 4 on my list is number 39 overall out of the top 100. It's another Confederate States note. This one is the $5 Indian Princess note. This was printed, very few notes were printed in this. I want to say somewhere in the range of under 10,000, somewhere in that account. They are blank on the back. They're printed with black ink. And just to take a look at that particular note there, the Indian Princess would be on the side. Not a whole lot of these survive. There's 100 to 110 of these, so I was debating which list it should go on to, but this is one of the more rare, really expensive ones. This one is a type 35, and it's a $5 denomination. So yeah, if you were looking at a CSA book, type 35 is where it would come up. Called the Indian Princess Note. If you can stumble across one of these, scoop it, because these will run $150,000 to $200,000 without a problem. So good luck to you on finding one of these particulars if you can. Who knows? Maybe you'll stumble across someone who found one time and has no idea what it's worth. You never know what you'll find at flea markets and old coin shops in boxes. This particular one, I can see that back in 1960, these were available for as little as 175 bucks. Even in the 80s, these were only $2,000. So as far as treasure hunting goes, you very well could stumble across one of these at an antique store. If you do, you're sitting on $150,000. Anyway, this one is number 4 on my list and number 39 out of the top 100. Number 3 on my list is the $100 National. This is from the second charter period, as you can see right there. Second charter period $100 note. I believe I highlighted the 50 as well in this series. The 50 and the 100 were printed at the same time. There were 3 50s on the sheet, but there was only one 100 per sheet. So 3 times as rare as the 50 is the 100. This is the brown back. So if we look at the back, you can see the distinctive brown ink and the gigantic charter number on the back. And once again, you have the U.S. on this side, on the territory or the state on this side. 3 times as rare as the 50. You can expect a huge price bump on these. There are between 425 and 500 of these that still exist. Its FR number is 519. If you are lucky enough to find one of these, you can maybe scoop one up for around $5,000 in rough condition, but if you see one in decent shape, you're talking over $45,000. So maybe the rarity and the price don't quite line up, but when that happens, you know that's a time to seek out bargains. Anyway, number 26 overall out of the top 100, and number 3 on my list, the second charter period National $100 brownback. Number 2 on my list is another CSA. This is the $1,000 Montgomery note. The other Montgomery note was the 500. That 1,000 was the first note published, and this was done to help fund the Confederate States during the Civil War. These were printed in 1861. Obviously not to be spent, because what were you paying $1,000 for in 1861? Now, granted, as hyperinflation hit, prices had changed and people were paying with large chunks of stacks of money by the end of the war. But early on, this $1,000 note was more of a savings bond than anything else. These weren't really being spent. This was a way for people to help fund the war by buying these notes. Now, the $1,000 bill from 1861, this one, there are 109 of these still available. It is T1 or CS1, type 1, however you want to do it. When it comes to CSAs, this is number 1 on the list in every way imaginable. It is the one note you want to get. It is type number 1. It is FR number 1. It is CS number 1. Any designation, this is always number 1. Even in rough shape, these are $50,000. And if you find one in decent shape, you're well over that $150,000 price tag. They are blank on the back, but this is my replica of that 1,000. Probably the only one I will ever be able to afford. Number 2 on my list, number 17 overall out of the top 100. And finally, number 1 on the list. This one is a cheat, and I don't like the fact that it's part of the top 100, because it's not specifically a note. This is a fractional currency shield. These were made by the Treasury Department, and they actually consist of the actual notes. These are all specimen notes. They're all one-sided specimen notes. They were framed and put under glass by the Treasury and sent off to banks so that banks could compare notes that they received in transactions with these to see what the actual real notes look like. Each of these are specimen notes, and you'll notice that these are the narrow specimens. So a lot of times when you see people selling the narrow specimen, these are notes that were taken from one of these shields. These are real, so they're still genuine specimens. The problem with these, though, is that it would be very easy to take these apart, which means there aren't very many of these left. There are somewhere in the range of 400 to 600 of these, and they are pretty big. You're talking 20 inches by 25 inches, heavy and under glass. But it's not a note. They include this in the top 100, and I really wish they wouldn't, because it's not a note. It is clearly a currency collectible, but it is not currency per se. They call it number 14 on the list. These will sell for anywhere from $7,000 to $25,000, depending on the condition of not only the notes, but of the frame and glass and everything else. So yeah, 25 grand for number 1 on the list, number 14 overall. Like I said, kind of a cheat with that, so I know it seems disappointing to see this as number 1, but that's the order that I went in, the order that they're listed as the top 100. All right. So if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching.